Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from around the world. Yeah, baby bubba. Trying to get a little funky up in this camp, you know what I'm saying? Get that horn section. It is Wednesday night. It is the Exceptional Conservative Show on the Exceptional Conservative Network. We are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation. First to the Republicans, then to the socialists. Yes, one moment we are passing tax reform, and then maybe we're not. Then one moment we are passing healthcare reform, and then maybe not. It's a topsy-turvy DC, but what isn't topsy-turvy is that the best in urban conservative talk is on the Exceptional Conservative Network. So glad to have you here. Mary Brockman, hey, is up in the Chrissy, the Hizzy, and every other Izzy. I love this music. Could the mayor of Washington, D.C. be a descendant of a slave from Switzerland? You know what? Tonight we have a very good friend coming on in our first quarter hour, Douglas Burton. Now, Douglas Burton happens to be the CEO of Investigative Reports and Commentary at Burton News and Views. So he and I have a great love. We have a great love for history. We have a great love for Black history, if there's such a thing. That's certainly a great love for American history. So, ladies and gentlemen, there is a part of there is a part of American history that isn't covered. And I know every time February comes around, BET and all the other cable stations has to play Roots 1, Roots 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And it's constantly a barrage of Black people were slaves, and you should be unhappy about that. Well, yeah, I'm unhappy about that, but guess what? There were also free Blacks here, too. So we're going to talk tonight about real American history, not just the one that makes you angry and want to get out there and kill white people. Hopefully I didn't put it too bluntly so that you all might understand. You're listening to the Exceptional Conservative Show. I want to give a shout out to everybody who's in the chat room before we get going. And you know how we get going with of course, the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America. Want to tell much love to Claudia Cheek. That's a beautiful conservative woman. Absolutely beautiful. Also, Mary Brockman, who is the chief bouncer. Yes, what I'm talking about. Beautiful, brilliant, and bubbly. The 3 B's. Pastor Shannon Wright, part of the Right Way in the morning, the morning drive time show at 7:05 a.m. on the Exceptional Conservative Network with Shannon and Mike. And as well, Ralph J. Chittams Sr., who, my good friend, is on drive time at 4:05 p.m. on TECN. The right guy. He is always right. You know how we do this. We take off our hats. For some of us, we still have hair under it. For others, we're planning on it. And we are getting ready to pledge allegiance to the United States. Kids, you know what to do. You got to take it away. Put your right hand over your heart and take off your caps. Right behind me is a flag for those who are, forgive me, right here. There they go. Right there. For those who are watching via Ustream, for those watching via live stream, you got the big one right over here. All you need to do is put your right hand over your heart just like this, and gosh darn it, we are ready to rock and roll. Rock and roll, peeps.
Take your parents. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
Amen, y'all. Amen. Get your kids to do that before they go to school because you're not too certain that they'll be able to when they get there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let us make our phone call out this particular evening. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to ringy dingy Douglas Burton, in fact. And let's see here. Just typing in numbers there. Okay, bam. Yeah, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
This service is provided in high definition by freeconferencecallhd.com. Please enter your access code followed.
Now, this is supposed to be HD, so this is supposed to be the highest quality that we could possibly find.
Access code accepted. There are 2 participants in the conference. Please announce yourself.
Good evening. This is Ken.
Doug Burton from Greenbelt is on the call.
Ugly.
Good evening,
Hello?
Jerome Fowler.
All right. This is awesome.
Hello.
This is absolutely awesome. We not only have with us one of the great writers and historians, Douglas Burton, with us tonight, but also one of the descendants of Adam Francis Plummer, the Reverend L. Jerome Fowler. It's a great pleasure, honor to have you both on the air with us tonight.
Good evening, Mr. McClendon.
Awesome.
Thank you, Kim McClinton. Honored to be here.
Well, thank you all so much. First and foremost, I have to ask you, Reverend Fowler, what is it like to know that you are related to one of the more famous men of American history?
Well, it is a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And it is one that I have been learning about and studying and reading about since I was 7 years old.
Wow.
And I have yet to get enough of reading his story.
Oh, can you tell us about Adam Francis Plummer? Who exactly is Adam Francis Plummer for those who are just following along at home and haven't figured out that all black people were not slaves and weren't in the movie Roots?
Adam Francis Plummer is my great-great-grandfather.
Wow.
He was born in Prince George's County at Goodwood Plantation in May 14th, 1819.
Mm-hmm.
He was the next to the youngest child of 8 children. He had 2 older brothers and 4 sisters older than he, and then his youngest sister, Elizabeth, was born 2 years later. When Adam was 10 years old, he and his 2 brothers, Henry and Elias, were taken from Goodwood, where they had grown up, and they were transferred to Riversdale Plantation, which was owned actually by the same family. George Calvert, the owner of Goodwood and Mount Airy in Upper Marlboro, had married Rosalie Spears in 1800.
Mm-hmm.
She died in 1821, leaving several children.
Mm-hmm.
But the Riversdale plantation had been started by her father, who had come over during the Napoleon Revolution from Belgium.
Mm-hmm.
And after things settled down in 1804, he and his family returned to Belgium to reclaim their wealth. His daughter Rosalie, who had by then married George Calvert, took over the running and the building of the plantation from her father. She was an educated woman. And after she died in 1821, in 1829, her husband brought these 3 young men these 3 slaves from Goodwood over to work at Riversdale. And that's where they stayed until after they were freed from slavery in 1864.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Adam was a very interesting character. He was always seeking and trying to learn new things. Of course, in those days, it was against the law for a slave to read or write.
Exactly.
It was not, and that person could be either killed, mutilated, or sold to the deep south. But he, as a youngster, I don't know how old he was, teenager probably, was taught by an itinerant black preacher by the name of John Bowser, who had been freed in Bladensburg and had wandered on to the Riversdale plantation and spent some time there, staying and talking with the slaves and teaching the slaves about Christianity and about the Bible. He took a liking to the boy and taught him secretly to read and write phonetically. And Adam was so excited and so earnest that he used every opportunity he could to better what he had learned and to improve on his education. And it is said that at one point, as you may understand, uh, slaves received letters and they sent letters to one another, to their loved ones that they were separated from.
Mm-hmm.
But the letters were usually were usually written, that they sent letters were usually written by the foreman or someone on the plantation, a member of the family that owned them, whom they felt they could trust. And when they received letters, usually the owner of the plantation or the foreman overseeing the slaves would read the letters to them. Well, one day a letter came to one of the slaves at Riversdale, and he handed the letter to Mr. Calvert, the owner, to read the letter to him. The letter was so badly written that Calvert had a hard time reading it, deciphering, and trying to read it. It was so terribly written.
Mm-hmm.
And that slave got impatient and blurted out telling his master what was in the letter. Of course, Calvert was upset and angered and wanted to know, well, who told you this? Who read the letter?
Mm-hmm.
And the slave answered and said, Adam. And there's no other, we don't know of any punishment that he may have received. We don't know what the outcome was, but he was able to continue. He was not sold. He was not punished that we know of. And he continued working very closely because George Calvert had studied at the University of Virginia, we believe under Thomas Jefferson.
Yes.
When it was agricultural. He was very much interested in agriculture and improving agriculture. And of course, in those years, in the 1830s and 40s, I think people realized that slavery was coming to an end, and our country was built on agriculture,
Mm-hmm.
and they were looking at new ways to do things and modern technology, and so Calvert had found in this slave a slave that he could trust and depend on, and who was just as anxious to help. That was anxious to help him with his experiments and to do new things. And so he trusted this slave and kept him close to him.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That is simply amazing. The life of Adam Plumley. Um, and the to actually have learned how to read, taking the absolute risk of death itself, and to then, forgive me, Plummer, uh, then to virtually be able to live a full and productive life, uh, thanks to the help of John Bowser. Now, before I go to a quick commercial, I'm going to let everyone down the line. I'm going to have to delay for a few moments because I want Doug Burton to come in at this particular moment. And Doug, and I hope someday that you all write a movie about Adam Plummer, forgive me, because it's an amazing tale and a great honor for Prince George's County, Maryland. But why is John Bowser so important in this particular story and to current American history? Doug?
Are you asking Doug Burton or Reverend Fowler?
No, I'm asking Doug Burton. Yes.
The reason John Bowser is important is that there is circumstantial evidence that he is the fifth or sixth generation ancestor of the current mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser. Muriel Bowser says she's a fifth generation Washingtonian. John Bowser was a manumitted slave. That means he was freed. He was a Methodist minister. He came onto the Riversdale plantation at some point, we don't know which year, and he taught Adam Francis Plummer how to read. It was a life-changing experience. We do not know if John Bowser taught other slaves how to read, but it made a huge difference in Adam Francis Plummer's life because he began a diary on the day of his wedding in 1819, May 30th, that is May 30th, 1819.
1841.
Thank you, in 1841. And on May 30th, he recorded his joy at being married, and he recorded his ability as a literate slave. This is the only known diary written by a slave during slavery. Now, the interesting thing is that Muriel Bowser says she is a fifth generation descendant of people named Bowser. In 1865, there are records in the Maryland church clergy records that a black preacher named Joshua Bowser was practicing as a licensed clergyman in Washington, D.C. And the question is Joshua Bowser the descendant, is he the ancestor of Muriel Bowser, the current mayor of Washington, D.C.?
Wow, this is fascinating. When we come back, I want to also, I want to understand, how is it that a black slave ends up getting married in one of the largest churches in Washington, D.C. During the Civil War era? I find that quite fascinating, and it tells us a lot about not only slavery in that time period, but what it meant to be a free black man. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. We have two tremendous guests on, the current descendant of Adam Francis Plummer, the Reverend Al Jerome, Fowler, and as well Douglas Burton, and they are going to let you know that there's a lot more to American history than what you've been told. We'll be right back with more of the best right after these messages. We'll be back in 2 minutes, 2 seconds, y'all.
Now, Brownells, we know you may have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and
Hello,
replacement
Reverend
parts
Fowler.
to
Are you on
improve
the
your
line?
chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our
Would you like to
gunsmiths
tell
articles
them
and
about the
videos will help you do
Presbyterian
more and get
Church?
more out of your guns. And we also value your hard work and money.
Of course.
That's why only Brownells
Yes,
backs
there's
up everything we
the
sell with a
the
100%
explanation needed that the church
unconditional
no longer
lifetime
exists,
guarantee.
but that church
Brownells, the world's
existed
largest
about
supplier of firearm accessories
established
and
about a block
gunsmithing
or 2 blocks
tools.
away from the current New York
With home
Avenue
values up and
Presbyterian
interest
Church,
rates near
which
all-time
is
lows,
very
you probably know that
prominent
now is
in
a great
Washington,
time to
D.C.
refinance,
society.
like the Johnsons, who save $436 a month.
$436 a month?
It's simple. Just go to LendingTree.com,
And what
compare loan
I
offers
think
for
you
free,
should be the
and
person
see
to
how
tell
much you
them.
could save
And
in
that
just
Adam
5
Francis
minutes.
Plummer
Hey, you
came,
said the bank gave you
I
the
think
best
on May
rate.
30th in 1841, and he needed to
Lending
be
Tree,
told
when
where
banks
he could
compete,
go
you
to
win.
get
I'll have
a
to do everything
marriage
myself.
license. And he
Someone
thought
is
that the
sleeping on
marriage
the
license
couch
would be
tonight.
his free papers.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. We are certainly not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it's the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then the socialists. We have with us tonight two absolutely fascinating guests, and we're beginning to get a better understanding of American history with every word that they speak. The first being the Reverend L. Jerome Fowler, who is the descendant of the great Adam Francis Plummer, and as well Douglas Burton, who I hope someday will have a screenplay about the life of Adam Francis Plummer. Send that thing to Hollywood. It's an amazing story. And one of the reasons why I want to do this tonight, we're going to make certain that these gentlemen come back with us on a monthly basis or along those particular lines, is that there is a lot of American history that is not told accurately. And we have generations of children that have gone without the truth. Some of it has been obscured, some of it has been denied. simply because of the efforts of, I would call them historian pimps, individuals who like to only give you one side of the story instead of giving you the full side. And what we're going to do over the next year is to begin to illuminate American history like it's never been illuminated before. And part of that begins with the legacy of Adam Francis Plummer. Reverend Fowler, you are a great minister yourself. You preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. You're unashamed of doing that. How is it that your ancestor was married in one of the largest? I mean, he was a slave. How does that happen? How was he married in Washington D.C. in one of the largest churches?
Well, if I may, let me tell you the story. In 1839, a young woman, a young slave from a neighboring plantation, her name was Emily Saunders, and her mother's sister, Emily's aunt, had taken sick at Riversdale, where she was visiting her husband, who was a slave at Riversdale. Emily, her mother, and her aunt, they were slaves at Three Sisters Plantation in now what we know as Springdale, Maryland, on the site where Flowers High School is. For those of you who are familiar with Flowers High School, Charles Flowers High School.
Yes.
Emily was visiting with her mother to try to get her aunt well enough to come back to where she belonged at Three Sisters. And one day they met, and Adam became very interested in this young lady and started trying to talk to her, and over a period of time was able to get permission to visit her and to talk to her and get to know her. On May 31st of 1841, they culminated their relationship by being married. Now, at Three Sisters Plantation, it was very interesting because that plantation was owned by a spinster woman, a woman who had never married. She was engaged in her early life to marry, and her intended died before they could be married. And Miss Sally Hillary was her name. Had gotten old, she was up in age in her 70s and 80s, and so she had a custom that the young girls that she approved of and they were trained to work in the house, to be house slaves.
Yes.
They lived, when they became teenagers, they lived in the house and under her tutelage. And when they were ready to get married, they would have to bring the young man to Miss Sally for her approval. And if she approved of the young man, she would perform the ceremony herself in her dining room. And this is so that she could have the authority and the power if she became, if she lost, if that young man lost her approval or did something against her will, she could have him banned, sold, or just removed from the picture altogether, and she would annul the marriage. Well, we don't know exactly why Adam, when he just was ready to marry Emily, he did not allow Miss Sally to marry them.
Wow.
He came on a Sunday with a horse and carriage. He took his bride to be Emily and her bridesmaid, and they got into the carriage and they drove into Washington, D.C., to Northwest, to 14th and G Street, I believe it was. It was not at that time New York Avenue Presbyterian Church. Doug can back me up that two Presbyterian churches in Washington melded together to become what became New York Avenue Presbyterian Church. But it was a Presbyterian church at that time at 14th and G Street, Northwest. And they went to the church and asked the minister, I don't believe it was the pastor, It was one of the ministers on staff, and they asked him to marry them. He asked for a license. Adam didn't seem to know what a license was, and he explained to him they had to have a license to get married.
Mm-hmm.
And so he gave them instructions as to where to go and whom he should see. And so he sent him to a William B. Brent, who was the license agent. And on that day, they obtained their license. Adam paid $1 for the license. They went back to the church, and the minister married them.
Wow. Wow.
That was in 1841. Now, in 1845, with two young children, their first two children, both babies, toddlers, Adam decided to escape from slavery. He didn't want his children to grow up in slavery. And so a plot was arranged between he and Emily. They planned their escape. And Adam believed that once they reached free territory in the north, their marriage license would serve as free papers because slaves were not allowed to legally marry.
Yes.
And so he had told this to Emily, and he had very carefully, the day they were leaving, he had very carefully packed that license in with their belongings that they were carrying with them, and to make sure it was safe. He left to take care of some errands and to do some things, and it was time for Emily to go in to prepare the dinner or the lunch meal. And a relative of hers, we don't know if it was a cousin or aunt or who it was, we know that it was a relative of Emily she loved very dearly. And of course, she was leaving her, the only home that she had ever known for all of her life. And so she was a bit despondent and fearful of the idea of leaving her family behind. Emily was the oldest of her mother's 25 children.
Wow. 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 Now,
yes.
That's 25 children is amazing to me. It would not have been during that time period. It was just a part of life itself. But what is more amazing to me is that your descendant received papers that really that made him legally free.
Yes.
How for $1? How, Mr. Burton, please tell me, how does a black slave get papers that free him with the great glory of being married?
Well, let me say, I think Reverend Fowler can speak to this because he studied the diary more completely than I have. But it was widely believed that slaves, black people who had a marriage license, were free individuals because slaves were not given marriage licenses. They couldn't get them. So therefore, to have a marriage license was evidence of a record that you were a free black person. Somebody told Adam Francis Plummer that he needed to have a marriage license to document that he was free. And I don't know who told him that. I don't think he could get it in the state of Maryland. No. He knew that he had to get it in the District of Columbia. What do you say, Reverend Fowler?
It is a mystery that has not yet been unfolded to me, but I think we might be on the right pathway.
Now, does it have any?
They acted. Yeah. They did not go into Washington D.C. as acting as slaves.
Okay.
They drove into Washington D.C. with horse and buggy. They drove from the east side of the city all the way to northwest Washington.
Wow.
And they were not bothered or interrupted that we know of. This says something for the demeanor in which they carried themselves.
Exactly. Now they there is a relationship here to also Abraham Lincoln that I want people to know, and we only have a few more moments, probably about 3 more minutes to go, and there is a relationship between your descendant, uh, Adam Francis Plummer, and Lincoln regarding this particular marriage, and if you could, in short, just explain that, and then I want you to explain why Adam Francis Plummer Day is so important to Prince George's County, Maryland.
Adam Plummer, Adam Francis Plummer Day is important to Prince George's County because of the things that he stood for. He stood for family. He was a proponent of family. He and Emily eventually had 9 children. Only one died in infancy, but 8 grew to become adults. And all of their children were educated.
Mm-hmm.
That was required. They had an education. The oldest 2, Sarah Miranda, who was the oldest, and Henry, her brother, were taught by their father to read and write, and they perfected those skills. Henry went on to Wayland Seminary, which was a school opened in 1865 for former slaves to get an education, and it became a place for preparing the men for ministry as well as for teaching, becoming teachers. Henry and his brother Elias both went to and graduated from Wayland Seminary. Their youngest brother, Robert, was a graduate of Howard University in 1890 and became a pharmacist.
Wow.
There were 4 boys and 4 girls that grew up. My great-grandfather, Nicholas Saunders Plummer, was kept on the farm because he was the one child that worked best with agriculture, and he followed his father's footsteps and was learned and helped his father. So he was kept on the farm. He did not get the education that his brothers got, but he was important and he knew what he was doing. The girls, one became a nurse. The daughters, one became a nurse. That was Aunt Julia. Maggie was a mother. She was a homemaker. The oldest girl was Sarah Miranda, who was sold in slavery in 1860 to New Orleans, Louisiana. While she was there, she was converted to the Baptist church down there. And when they were able to send for her and bring her back home in 1866, the first thing she did was start a church in Prince George's County, which was the first Baptist congregation in Prince George's County. The church that I served even to this day, was raised up in, and I serve to this day. The youngest daughter, Nellie, became a school teacher. She also graduated from Wayland Seminary and became a school teacher and taught for almost 50 years in the public school system. And she took her father's diary after he died in 1905. She took her father's diary and studied it, read it, and made notes in the diary. And from that diary, she wrote a book and published it, self-published it in 1926, entitled Out of the Depth of the Triumph of the Cross. And because of that book, she made sure that every household in her family, in the Plummer family, and in her mother's family, the Saunders Arnold family, had a copy of that book. And we still have it to this day. And that book tells the story of the diary. That book tells us what we need to know about our family history. Wow. And it's a book that I've been reading, as I said, since I was 7 years old. And I'm still reading it. I'm sitting here right now with it open to make sure I give you the right information.
That is amazing that a tomb of the period of slavery exists today by a man who was so intellectually superior that he was able to write in that diary. And I hear tell in that diary that there were no inaccuracies, there are no grammar errors. This man wrote.
No.
Yes. Yeah. he wrote it as he thought it, and it was absolutely without erasers and scratching out or whatever. He was a great writer.
And Ken, your listeners can go to their computers right now and go to the internet and just type in Smithsonian Institution Diary or Plummer Diary, or they can just say they can just type in Adam Francis Plummer Diary and it will pull it up. The diary has its own website through the Smithsonian Institution. Wow. You can open the diary and read it verbatim, and we see that beautiful, majestic handwriting that he had.
Awesome. And quite frankly, it is a tremendous honor, first and foremost, to talk with you tonight. And I will put this in the chat room right now for people to share to those who are following along at home. This is your history. A lot of people don't understand the power that Adam Plummer exhibited in 1841, how a marriage letter made him a free man, how today's Prince George's County would not exist unless it were for men like Plummer. Doug, I want to bring you in here for just the final moments here. There is a relationship between Abraham Lincoln and Adam Francis Plummer. And then I want you both to tell us how we can help support you and the next Adam Francis Plummer Day in Prince George's County, Maryland. But go right ahead. Please give everyone that correlation between Adam Francis Plummer, Abraham Lincoln.
Ken, thank you. There are many mysteries yet to be elucidated. However, here's what we know. Abraham Lincoln had a corresponding relationship with Charles Calvert, who was the owner of Adam Francis Plummer. And Lincoln allowed Plummer to have space, to have rooms where he could store his agricultural research collections. We do know that. We do also know that Lincoln was a close friend of the son of John Brackenridge, who was the Presbyterian pastor of the Bladensburg Church in the Presbyterian Church in Bladensburg that was later acquired by the Plummer family.
Wow.
So we also know that Lincoln wrote the Emancipation Proclamation on the land that had previously been owned by John Brackenridge, this very same Presbyterian minister who was a chaplain of the U.S. Senate. There are many things that the correlations which we cannot verify, but what we do know is that there is circumstantial evidence that John Brackenridge, a very prominent Presbyterian minister, was somehow connected to and helping the family of Adam Francis Plummer. And this is a mystery that needs to be further researched.
Now, a lot of people have this idea that there were no free men in America. But the life of Adam Francis Plummer and many others show exactly that there were free blacks during this particular time period, and that there were abolitionists, white and black, who were not looking at the color of skin, but the character of content and helping individuals eradicate slavery in America. When we think of the month of May, there is a celebration in Washington, D.C. of Nannie Helen Burroughs, but very few people know about the celebration of Adam Francis Plummer. Shouldn't they know that, Reverend?
Yes, they do. Yes, they should.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they should.
Is there a celebration coming up in May that we should know of, and how can people be a part of that? And you all will be back in May, and I'll promote that at great liberty. But how can people get in contact with you both and follow up with you on this and on the history of Adam Francis Plummer?
Doug, you go first.
Well, I would say that, first of all, the Prince George's County Executive made a proclamation 2 years ago that May 30th is Adam Francis Plummer Day, because that is the day that inaugurated his diary, and it was inaugurated to his wedding to Emily Saunders on that day at the New York Avenue Presbyterian Church. That's how much importance he put into his wedding day, and that's why that is why we celebrate Adam Francis Plummer Day as a day in which a great American honored literacy and marriage and freedom. Adam Francis Plummer always intended to be free. He got married that day because he believed he would get free. He got married that day because marriage was very important to him, and he struggled and strived and was successful in keeping his family cared for many years in which he was separated from his wife and children. He was a champion of marriage, he was a champion of faith, and he was a champion of freedom. I have contacted some of the ministers who supported Adam Francis Plummer Day 2 years ago, and they would like to celebrate Adam Francis Plummer Day this year, probably on May 28th, 2017.
This is absolutely fascinating. And I can't tell you how honored, first and foremost, I am to first meet you, Reverend Fowler. And St. Paul is a memorable edifice. And to know now the history behind St. Paul is just absolutely, it blows my mind right now. So I'm completely honored. I'm thankful for having you on. And Doug, I know that it's very tough for those who happen to be in urban America, because we've always been told that we have to only honor and think of the slave, and that others are supposed to feel guilty because of slavery. But I think we do ourselves a disservice by not looking at the history of free men in this country, Adam Francis Plummer being one of them, and the depths to which our history has been obscured by racial antithesis per se, sometimes within our own race. I want to ask you very quickly, how can people get in contact with you about what you're trying to do with the history? And are you working on any type of like movie or something? I mean, I would love to see this movie about the life of Adam Francis Plummer. I really would.
Well, I would also thank you, Ken. As Reverend Fowler knows, I've written a film treatment which could become a screenplay on the life of Adam Francis Plummer. I've been inspired by this history for 20 years. I believe that the diary itself lends itself to dramatic treatment because the drama leaps out of the pages. If you go read the diary, you will see what I'm talking about. Now, you can reach me by contacting me. You can at the exceptionalconservativeshow.com. I'm active as an independent writer in Washington, D.C. I don't have a website on African American history, but if anyone wants to contact me, they should go to you.
I would.
There is a great story to be told. I would just like to mention briefly that Adam Francis Plummer's grandfather and his granduncle were veterans in the American Revolutionary War.
Wow.
They were freed. They were given their manumission papers because they served for 3 years in the American Revolutionary Army.
7 years, Doug.
7. Wow.
Well,
wow.
Thank you, Reverend Fowler. I've seen 3 years. You say 7 years. Okay, 7 years. And they got their free papers in 1781, and they got their land grants in Western Maryland, which were not exercised. I would like to say finally, that the story of Adam Francis Plummer and his family is not a story in Black history. It is a story about American history.
Yes.
And this man is not a hero of Black history. He's a hero of American history. He is a man that I, as a white person, revere as as a person that I want my children and my aunts and my descendants to honor.
Literacy, marriage, and freedom. This is probably one of the most honorable shows we've ever done on the Exceptional Conservative Network. This is actually our 1100th show on SHR Media, this one show tonight. And what a way to begin the 1100 series of shows with the honoring of Adam Francis Plummer. First and foremost, Reverend Fowler, Reverend L. Jerome Fowler, I thank you for making America aware of the diary and your family as well, because I know there's a hurt story behind that, and I just don't have time to get to it. I want to the next time you come back. It's an amazing tale in itself. But that legacy of Adam Francis Plummer that touches the life of even Mayor Muriel Bowser today is simply amazing. And I thank you so much for coming on. And Doug, I appreciate so much what you're trying to do to uncover the histories that have been covered over by liberal historians and the annals of time. I thank you all so much for coming on tonight. We will have you all back on next month when we're celebrating Adam Francis Plummer. God bless you, and thank you all so much.
And thank you so very much for inviting us to participate tonight. It has been a blessing, and I thank your audience for listening and hearing our story.
Wow.
And Ken, I look forward to sitting down with you face to face very soon.
I look forward to
sharing more with you.
I look forward to that. And in fact, what I want to do is, I'm forgive me, I know I'm in part, forgive me all you commercial folk. We're going to get to commercials. But I want to sit down with you and another gentleman who has been working hard to bring out the life and times of Nanny Helen Burroughs. And I want to do that in the next couple of weeks. I think you all's stories are absolutely fascinating. And those are two movies I would love for Hollywood to work on for next year's release. I really do. Thank you all so much. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ken. God bless.
All right.
Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, wow, that was fascinating. And I may not be long in the earth of doing these shows, but I want to know one thing before I've gone, that what I've done meant something. Tonight, our 1100 show on SHR Media Live, love SHR Media. Tonight meant something to me. It really did. We'll be back.
With home values up and interest rates near all-time lows, you probably know that now is a great time to refinance, like the Johnsons, who saved $436 a month.
$436 a month?
It's simple. Just go to LendingTree.com, compare loan offers for free, and see how much you could save in just 5 minutes.
I thought you said the bank gave you the best rate.
Yeah.
Lending Tree. When banks compete, you win.
I have to do everything myself.
Someone is sleeping on the couch tonight.
You're listening to the Exceptional Conservative Show at theexceptionalconservativeshow.com. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after these messages. Oh, Master. Oh, Master. You're listening to the Exceptional Conservative. Somebody is in the chat room whipping on my soul, telling me I got violated the laws, Lord Jesus, by not playing the commercials on time. And Lord, she is so right. So what I'm going to ask everyone to do, everybody to do, get your cigarettes together and head towards the porch and begin to smoke them, for it is time for the Melanie commercial. You know the one.
Talk with Melanie is a lively discussion of global, domestic, and kitchen table financial topics. Join your business diva, Melanie Collette, as I speak with respected entrepreneurs, CEOs, authors, and politicians as we explore today's fiscal environment. Money Talk with Melanie airs every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10:05 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Exceptional Conservative Network. Remember, this is important because it's your money.
From the war front to the streets of our nation's capital, men of faith, Dr. Michael Jones, the underground professor, and Kenneth McClinton, the exceptional conservative, bring both constitutional gravitas and spiritual perspective on today's issues to the most influential Christian urban talk show, 9:05 p.m. Eastern, Thursdays. It's a new day on New Day, Black and Red.
Congratulations, Shannon and Mike.
Good
Over
morning.
5,000.
I'm Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Okay, folks, that's not how it goes. I think I'm Shannon and
I think
you're
so.
Michael.
Yeah.
Okay. We are The Right Way with Shannon and Mike.
Join us from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time
Live on SHR Media,
and on TECN,
where we'll be talking about all kinds of things,
from sports and politics
the food and entertainment,
to money
family,
and anything else in between.
community, holidays, all kinds of things.
It'll be great. Join us from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Hi, my name is Willie Lawson of The Willie Lawson Show here on the Exceptional Conservative Network. We have a brand new show on at 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. We are bound to make you think. We are bound to make you see things differently. We are bound to push you into action for not only your community, but your country. That's The Willie Lawson Show on the Exceptional Conservative Network, 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. See you there.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say this to you real quick. I know that I have violated many of my own rules for the network, for all the shows that are on, and you all can hold me dearly to that, and I do apologize to you. But I do want to say this to you before we go to the next series of commercials, before we go to the second hour. What a great joy that interview is. And the things that are in my head for the future of TECN, including movies, just stay tuned, people. Just stay tuned. I have a lot of ideas, a lot of dreams, a lot of ambitions. And when I want to be able to leave the world, it's a legacy that talks not just about what the left wants to talk about, but what America needs to hear. And I want to say this to you very quickly. I know I'm overdoing all this stuff. We'll catch back up. Trust me. Well, trust me. When the professor comes on tomorrow, I'll play all the commercials I should have played plus more. But I want y'all to know this without any doubt, that no matter what the hardship is, no matter what the circumstances are, no matter what people say and do and think of me, the only thing that matters, because what you did not hear is that Adam Francis Plummer registered black people for the Republican Party. I want you all to know the truth, because the truth will make us all free. There won't be a free nation until we, the people, begin to preach truth to the world. So all I want to say before we go into the second hour, I want to thank the great people at Red Nation Rising for staying tuned with us. If you had to leave, I understand. Bye. I love you. For the great people at SHR Media, because this is Sackhead's Radio Night, Sackhead Sean, Sackhead TECN.BIZ will be on the air at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Pacific. And I want to thank everybody who's in the chat room tonight. You all have just witnessed the future. I will be getting in contact with Lonnie. So Melanie, let Lonnie know that I'll be contacting him, or Ralph, let him know. I will contact Ralph and Shannon, all three lined up in the next hour. Thank you all so much for your patience. God bless you. We will be back.
Begin your mornings the right way with some right thinking from me, Perry Drake, your friendly neighborhood drive-by pundit. I want you to join me every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern and 9 a.m. Central Time on the Exceptional Conservative Network. From politics to pop culture, to relationships, to whatever else is on your mind. We have a great deal to talk about. Join in and let's get the talking started. Begin your mornings the right way with some.
Shekinah Ranch is involved in helping youth through the snags along the pathway to adulthood. The last 8 years have created greater challenges. Having a president to parade perversion to our youth has generated the need for us to ramp up our character learning 100-fold. Today's youth are confused. Our goal is to give them a fresh understanding of creation, moral clarity, respect for authority. In short, restore absolutes and boundaries. Boys are born boys and girls are born girls. God's design. Right is right even when no one else is doing it. The Exceptional Conservative Network is underway to raise $10,000 to help advance this mission. Together, let's reverse the confusion aimed at our youth. Don't be a spectator. Go to our donation portal and make your financial contribution, and do it now. Your gift goes towards helping youth get clarity, moral clarity. Thank you.
Thank you for the taking the call. And I really enjoy ICRN, your station, the station I listen to all day.
Okay, thanks, Dominique, for that.
Meet Jason. He was really excited to start growing his business with social media until he realized how complex and time-consuming social media can be. It's difficult to manage multiple social networks and accounts. It's hard to monitor what's happening on social media, follow discussions, and engage with new followers. It's time-consuming to publish updates throughout the day, track and analyze how effective posts are, respond to fans and followers in a timely manner, and gain new customers. The list seems to go on and on. Jason quickly becomes discouraged. How could he ever do all of this and still run a business? He was ready to give up on social media until he found eClincher, the easiest way to manage social media. Jason was amazed how straightforward and simple it is to use eClincher. With eClincher, Jason is now able to leverage the power of social media without having to dedicate several hours a day. He can easily organize all his social media accounts in one place, efficiently plan and schedule his posts ahead of time, engage with his followers, understand the effectiveness of his efforts with powerful analytics, find new customers, and much more. In order to tell your business's story, simplify the process of managing your social media, and analyze results, sign up with eClincher today.
Come on, Mr. Nunez, say it ain't so.
Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, Representative Devin Nunez, please step out of the politically correct parallel universe you've gotten stuck in. Your Ventus Americanos apologeticus decision to temporarily step aside as head of the Russian probe pending the outcome of an outlandish, progressive-oriented ethics investigation? Sir, I know you said, quote, is in the best interest of the House Intelligence Committee and the Congress, unquote. But that makes about as much sense as saying that the Chucky Schumers of the world, Nasty Pelosi, and even Governor Snyder of Michigan have good intentions regarding America because those progressive globalists do not. Mr. Nunez, your clear and precise investigation had the crooked progressive Democrats shaking in their crappy boots. Oh, I understand that several left-wing activist groups have filed accusations against you with the Office of Congressional Ethics. It was done to prevent the American people from getting the whole truth about improper unmasking of the identities of U.S. citizens and other abuses of power. Such typical Republican style of rolling over and caving into the whims of deviant progressives is both stupid and dangerous for the Republic. I'm Ron Edwards.
Sponsored by the Tri-County Liberty Coalition.
Did I get back at exactly the right time this time? Yes, I did. Yeah, I know. 10:05 in the nation's capital. I am your hostess of the mostest. Oh man, I love that phrase. You just don't know I am such a history geek. I am such a geek when it comes. I want to see an atom summer movie. I really do. Oh, man. You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Show on the Exceptional Conservative Network. We are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then the Socialist. I'm talking, Well, you know, one day I might invite Dominique to come on the program and interview her. I know I won't do that. I will not interview Dominique, not at all. But I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, Dominique will be at Freedom Fest this year. Freedom Fest 10. Okay? Janice Hall is going to be there. My little girl. I'm so proud of her. Yeah, that's the daddy in me. Melly Mel. And the Furious Five. Melanie Collette will be there. Saki and Sean, Saki and Clint. BZ will be there. Shannon and Mike will be there, and I'm going to try to make sure that Mike is there so he can interview William Shatner. Because that's a man's man right there, you know what I'm saying? And listen, there's room for you at Freedom Fest this year. I hope and pray that you will come. I would love to see Kel Fritz come to Freedom Fest, the most beautiful producer in all of radio. She is, without a doubt. I'm trying to recruit Kel Fritz to come to the Exceptional Conservative Network to produce some shows, including one of her own. We haven't had a conversation because she's the busiest woman ever. The busiest woman on the, I think she actually produces shows while she sleeps. I really do. But her work on EDL, and all the other shows that she has on, what is that thing that I used to be on that I no longer like and no longer am on? Blog Talk. But Kel, we love Kel. Kel says she may be freeing up some time for that. Listen, men love to hear that Kel says she's gonna free up some time for them. You know, just listen, you know who Halle Berry is? Well, Kel isn't Halle Berry, but she's just as beautiful. Thank God. She ain't crazy cray. Coming up in the next few is this man that we love dearly and has a wonderful, wonderful program. Blog Talk, Global Patriot, American Patriot. Oh my God, all the work. Girl, do you sleep? Do you ever sleep? I know people accuse me of not sleeping, but I know you work harder than I do. I'm waiting for my manumission papers. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Lion Chasers, where faith and public policy intersect. And now, your lion chaser in the good fight of faith, Lonnie Poindexter, on Urban Family Talk.
We're not saying that there's not instances where there's maybe racial injustice somewhere. This is America, and people are human, and the sin in the world. He's the president of first. He's the first president to say that America is not a Christian nation any longer. But you know, we'll pray for our enemies while we defeat them.
You can't blame folks for messing up the city. There has not been an elected Republican in council in Baltimore City in over 50 years.
And the co-captain's chair today, Reverend Ralph Chittams. What's happened is the social justice movement has now been hijacked by a godless movement. Don't be bamboozled. Ladies and gentlemen, Frederick Douglass was a gun-toting conservative. It's not a black or white issue. It's a God versus anti-God issue. And I know those would say, well, it's all rigged. It's all a game, Lonnie. Because I get that a lot. And there's a crew that has their bags packed at the train station waiting for Jesus to come back. We'll be here in a minute. Well, training about another train. No, that wasn't Jesus. But he's coming. Meanwhile, Rome is burning. The host of the Black Man Deacon radio show. Welcome to the show, Stanley Levy. Good morning, Ronnie. How are you? The core issues to build elephants aren't in the home. We've got to do away with the entitlement programs and the things that hamstring us.
And that's where the conservative viewpoints really resonate for my generation.
I want to welcome to the show the host of the Exceptional Conservative Show, and that's my brother Kenneth McClinton.
Welcome, brother. Lonnie, it's an honor and privilege always to be with your ever-expanding audience. Let your listeners be lion chasers with Lonnie Poindexter. If Lion Chasers sounds right for your station or network, contact Will Addison by email, waddison@afa.net. Encourage your listeners to be lion chasers with Lonnie Poindexter and Urban Family Talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Lion King himself, or at least the Lion Chasers King himself, none other than Lonnie Poindexter. Good evening, sir. It's a great pleasure to have you on with us, and thank you for your patience with me this evening.
Well, hello there, Don Vito. I thought you had forgotten about me. You must have had an attractive woman or something you were interviewing prior to me.
You don't know. No, I wasn't talking to Melanie.
Okay. Melanie will hog up all the airtime.
Won't she? Oh my God. Give her 5 minutes, she'll make it 50. Anyway. Oh man, no, actually got a chance to speak with the descendant of Adam Plummer, who has a great legacy in Prince George's County, and his diary is in the Smithsonian Institute. And my great hope is that we get a movie deal done of that. That is an immense and beautiful project that I hope that we'll be working on in due season. But you know, I'm a history geek. You know, women who
that's an understatement. It's your history geek.
Who needs women when you got books? You know. Oh man. Lonnie Poindexter, congratulations. You are an icon of Christian conservative talk. Can you tell everybody first and foremost where they can listen to you Monday through Friday?
Well, you're too kind, sir. You know, I just want to be like you when I grow up. But they can catch my show Monday through Friday on urbanfamilytalk.com. That's urbanfamilytalk.com. The name of the show is Lion Chasers with Lonnie Poindexter. And the show is based upon the scripture 1 Chronicles 11:22 about Benaiah, one of David's mighty men, who on a snowy day went down in a pit and went mano a mano with a lion and prevailed. So the show is about uncommon men and women of faith that will stand up and speak truth in these dark and evil days.
Awesome. Listen, I want to talk with you first, and the abbreviated form that we have, and it's about the Stevie Steve thing. Easter Sunday, most people are sitting down, getting ready to have their ham and everything, and to recover from 3 hours of the final last words of Jesus Christ by a preacher who just wouldn't exhaust himself in terms of preaching. And they're home, and he's walking home from dinner, and then the next thing we see on Facebook is he's being killed. Mr. Robert Godwin, 74-year-old man in Cleveland. Earlier today, Stevie Steve was found by the police. Instead of turning himself in, he shot and killed himself. He blamed his girlfriend, Joy Lane, for the incident. And the last thing I saw of it was his mother telling the press it's over now, and that she didn't want him to be shot up by the police. She was glad that he shot himself. How much dysfunction is there in is it just Black America, or is this America in general that we're just so dysfunctional here?
Well, you know, it's America in general, but you know, the Black community is the canary in the mine shaft for what happens in America in general, and then specifically Black America is the petri dish for that grand experiment called socialism. And what we're seeing today is just a byproduct of that. You know, I know it rocked you, it rocked me as well. The thing that screamed at me is as they were interviewing everyone, and they interviewed Mr. Godwin's family, who rallied together and showed the love and support they had for one another, and obvious love they had for their patriarch. And then when they interviewed the mother of the assailant, her comments, which resonated with me as well, and that she had told him, you know, don't go out and do anything stupid, when he said that this is the last time you're going to see me. So when I heard that or read that, flags went up for me immediately. And the thing that came out, brother, that hit me right between the eyes, and I wrote an article about this in Sons of Liberty Media, is where was his father?
Wow.
Why wasn't his father on TV pleading for his son to turn himself in? Why wasn't his father involved in his life in general? I scoured the web, couldn't find anything about his dad. Found a lot of things about his mom, but nothing about his dad. So I wrote a piece titled "When the Fatherless Kills a Father," and it's been posted on the front page of Sons of Liberty Media. If you go to sonsoflibertymedia.com, your listeners can catch the article. It was just posted today because it impacted me that well, where I just drew an analogy between a patriarch who obviously was involved in the lives of his children, given the love they showed for him, and also the pain at his untimely death. And then what you had with this young man who obviously had a whole lot going on in his mind, who was never taught critical thinking. And when the rough patches of life hit him, his way to deal with them was to strike out against unsuspecting people and then take his own life.
I want to ask you real quick, because we're putting that in the chat room for everybody to read and to share. I want you all to share this as you can on our state of the art Euro Pacific Bank Limited TECN chat room. You can share it on Facebook and on Twitter right now to all of your family, to all of your friends. A wonderful article, Fatherless Kills Father. However, there were black women on Easter Sunday blaming Joy Lane for the death of Robert Goodwin. What is up? What's wrong with us? You know what I'm saying? What's wrong? They're blaming the girlfriend.
Yeah, blaming the girlfriend instead of putting the blame where it firmly needs to be put. You know, we've got a generation of young males. He was 37 years old. He's a kid. You know, I got socks older than him.
Yeah.
And for him to make the choices that he made that ended up in this tragic death of an innocent man, it speaks to the brokenness in our culture in general, but specifically within his family as it relates to him not having someone to teach him critical thinking. You know, you go through rough patches in life. You've been through it. I've been through it. What gets us through it is our faith in God. And what gets us through it is those that go on before us who teach us how to deal with the difficult patches in life and how to take a stand and then move forward and learn from them. He didn't get any of that. No. And then, and I'm looking here, Pastor Chittams has posted, and I commented on this as well. I'm wondering what a grown 37-year-old man is doing with arched eyebrows. Did you notice in his pictures of him? Look at those pictures of him. He's got arched eyebrows.
Arched eyebrows. Yeah, listen, there is rumor that his girlfriend had approached him with the fact that he was on the down low as a homosexual. Actually, that would make him a bisexual in that sense. But or I don't know if he did anything with horses that would have made him trisexual, or I don't know, it's species, whatever. But the bottom line is there was an absence of God in all of this. From what I saw with the mom, from the girlfriend, but also the retaliatory statements from people on the internet. I mean, church-going women talking about it's the girlfriend's fault that he ended up like this and blaming her that he didn't get any help. Then you got the mama's reaction that she was glad that the police didn't kill him, that he killed himself. I mean, I'm listening to all of this, man, and I'm thinking the inner city is screwed. I mean, just simply screwed. Is there any hope for the inner city?
You know, without repenting and getting on our knees and reestablishing the male and his paternity in the black community, yeah, we are doomed. Because we've got 50 plus years of big mamaism that's taken place in our communities because government got in the way and finagling our families, and the male was replaced in his position of authority and leadership. And so what you have today is big mamaism. You know, that's what I call it. All roads lead to big mama. So his mother, and let me just state for the record, there are many single mothers out there doing the best they can. I don't have nothing against them, and thank God for them. But any woman out there raising a male child knows that, at least from my perspective, No single woman can make a boy into a man. It takes paternal leadership, and so she'll make sure that boy has access to through his coaches, through sports, through the Boy Scouts, at church, where his pastor is a surrogate. This young man didn't get any of that. He didn't know who the heck he wanted to be, and so he's running around, I guess, trying to be. And I'm just speculating because it's not like I've done a whole lot of research about him. When I covered this in my show the other day, I decided not to do that because, like, okay, I got $100 that says I can nail exactly what's going on with him. No daddy at home, so you end up what you end up with.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people would say, well, there you go. You're being sexist. You're being misogynistic. I can do bad by myself. And apparently you have. Is there hope for women at this particular? Can women turn this around in and of themselves?
No, women can't turn it around in and of themselves. It takes male participation. It takes a woman understanding that, you know, I can't fulfill both roles. I need to look somewhere for a surrogate, or I need to at least let daddy be around the kids if we're not together. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, it really just takes repentance. We've got to get back to what we used to be about in the Black community, which even when we were second-class citizens, the male still had prominence within the community. I lay this squarely at the feet of what I call Big Mamaism, and this is just the byproduct of the fatherless generation.
He was found at a McDonald's. And the reason why I bring that up is you got to have a great deal of gall when you know that everybody is looking for you. Even Day on the side of the corner trying to get $25,000 for turning your butt in is looking for you. And you go into a McDonald's. Is this a man who showed signs that maybe he needed help a long time ago and no one ever got it for him? Or the public institutions that were supposedly, with the billions of dollars that we sent to them, public schools and everything else, all left him without satisfaction?
Yeah, I mean, he needed help back when he was 5 and 6 years old and waiting for daddy to come pick him up to take him out because daddy and mama are at odds for whatever reason. And daddy didn't show up, or mama didn't allow daddy to come around. I mean, this started years ago. This is, you know, this is not rocket science. It does not take rocket science to figure out the issues, but the school system, the counselors, and all that other foolishness, they're part of the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Lonnie, you have a wonderful program Monday through Friday. And I know that this is abbreviated. We will have you back next week for a more extended period of time. But how can people listen to you? And when are we going to start listening to you on TECN? Just want to throw that out there. You know, trying to throw you under the bus. Throw you under the bus right there, man. There you go.
Sooner rather than later. But in the meantime, they can catch me at urbanfamilytalk.com. We broadcast 11 a.m. Eastern. The show's called Lion Chasers with Lonnie Poindexter. Tomorrow, I've got Colonel Rob Manus coming on the show, so look for him in the second hour. And I have Dran Reese coming on in the first hour. She is the CEO of Salt and Light Council. We're going to be talking about a new initiative that we're launching. So please tune in.
Awesome. Listen, I love you, man, and you are a tremendous example of fatherhood as well as manhood. And if there are any that are out there, you should start tuning in, especially on Mondays for Manhood Day on Lion Chasers Radio. God bless you, man. I love you dearly.
All right, take care, but I love you too.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back from the commercials, before I get whipped again by a certain female who's in there, you're not doing your job. Make you want to get on the roof. Anyway, I'll be right back right after this.
The best late night conservative talk show in America, TECN.BIZ Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on the immigration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work here too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best in late night conservative talk, TECN.BIZ Radio. The best late night conservative talk show in America. In America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
The bloviating Zeppelin. He's big-footed enough radio shows to last a lifetime, courtesy of Sean, Clint, Ken, and Jersey Joe. Now it's time for him to waddle on his own 2 feet via the glorious SHR media. Gird thy loins for the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, coming soon to ossicles near you. Excelsior.
I just want y'all to know that BZ, the bloviating Zeppelin, my very good friend Sir Mark, told me that if it were not for him, there would be no SHR media tonight. Not that I'm trying to say that with maybe Sackhead Clint and Sackhead Sean listening, not because I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not an instigator or troublemaker. I'm just merely quoting what I heard at the water cooler, and that BZ said that if it were not for him, it would not be an SHR. I'm just saying. We'll be back with Ralph Chittams right after these messages.
Hello, this is Leslie and Sophie with the Real Clear Israel. Join me every Sunday morning at 10:05 Eastern Time on the Exceptional Conservative Network. We will be discussing Israel with guests from Israel and around the world.
That's the Real Clear Israel, 10:05 Sunday on the Exceptional Conservative Network.
You're listening to the most influential urban conservative talk show in all of the world. Christianity, conservatism, the Constitution, capitalism. We talk about it all right here on the Exceptional Conservative Show at theexceptionalconservativeshow.com. Go there now and join me in chat. We're spreading the good news to the ends of the earth. We'll be back right after these messages.
Hey, it's Jersey Joe, the dreamer of common sense. You can catch me every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on shrmedia.com. That's every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, shrmedia.com.
Yeah, baby. You know what time it is. We gotta release the Kraken. It's that hour of the night, baby. We got an abbreviated session with him, and then we're gonna have the drop the mic moment with Pastor Shannon Wright. Nobody drops it like that pretty woman, okay? When she comes into the room, just bow your head because you're about to pray. Welcome back. You're listening to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. I am the exceptional one. I want to let you all know that unfortunately, no one threw me a parade this week when my particular show.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated.
Okay, we get ready to call you, Ralph. Get ready to call you, Ralph. My show crossed 20,000 listens on download and play at SHR Media alone. I didn't get a parade, nothing. I didn't get a call from Dominique, nothing. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody say nothing. Good evening.
You all know that unfortunately, no one threw me a parade this week.
There we go.
When my
Okay, Ralph, are we there?
I'm here.
All right, Ralph. Great to have you, sir. Great to have you. Listen, tell them what time it is, bro.
It's the Kraken's been put to bed, and in his place you have the right guy.
Oh, okay, all right. Oh, darn.
You know, the Kraken's had his rum and coke, and he had to go to bed.
Oh, darn. Okay, then Ralph J. Chittams, I guess we'll just deal with you, the right guy. You got a wonderful drive time show. Listen, I want to pick up from where we were with Lonnie earlier regarding Stevie Stevens, or Steven, whatever his name is, apparently having killed Robert Goodwin. I wanted to get your thoughts.
I refuse to mention his name.
I know. That's why I said it. Your thoughts on what happened on Easter Sunday and the reaction from so many quadrants regarding his actions.
Well, you had a guy who was uncertain about his sexuality. He's playing for both teams. And his girlfriend called him out. He couldn't deal with the embarrassment. It messed with his self-image of his own masculinity. And instead of dealing with it, he turned into a little punk and killed an innocent person to prove he was a man.
Wow. I want to ask you in this regard and question, there were immediate statements from the press, from varying quarters around the country, that Facebook should be punished for this happening, for them having the live video out there. Is this Facebook's fault?
Well, first, it wasn't a live video. My understanding was he posted it after the fact, so it wasn't a Facebook Live.
There you go.
But,
thank you.
You know, but then again, even if it was a Facebook Live, how is this Facebook's fault? You know, so using that argument that it's Facebook's fault that they allowed this image to go out, then it's the fault of every news outlet in America that showed the airplane flying into the World Trade Center. See, this is just nothing more than liberal America trying to find a deep-pocketed scapegoat to deal with the fact that American morality has gone into a toilet.
Exactly. So I want to ask you here, is that a cry out for people to be, mindful of how hurtful and dangerous it is for people to see video like that? Or are we looking at people really talking about censoring news and censoring public input on matters of public safety?
The end game for all of this is censorship. Look, Ken, you and I grew up in an age where we saw every weekend for hours people dropped off cliffs, boulders popped off people's heads, people shot in the face point blank with pistols, and we didn't go out and do any of that stuff because America still had a moral core. America still had, in the public square, Christianity, a system of laws and controls. And what we have lost is that moral core, that center, that religious training, and now people are just going buck wild.
Yeah, thank you. And that's basically what it is. It's what happens when you ask for a secular society. You got one. What's up? What's wrong with that? I want to ask you very quickly also about Bill O'Reilly. We who have a real conservative network, and wondering why people aren't listening and watching, there is a pseudo-conservative network out there whose owner, Rupert Murdoch, got into a number of issues regarding sexual harassment in women, losing lawsuits and leaving the company to his liberal sons and daughters. And now Bill O'Reilly. Is there something wrong with Fox News?
What we're seeing now is people are using the social justice movement of 2017 to go back and nail people for things that, for better or for worse, were considered socially acceptable 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And if you talk, talk to my wife, she's the same age as I am, and she says, having some guy refer to an attractive woman as hot chocolate or something like that 10, 15 years ago, that was almost normal office banter.
Yeah.
But now they're going back to what was considered normal back then, and I'm not going to make a value judgment whether it should have been normal or not. But now they're looking at it and framing it in terms of 2017 snowflake social justice warrior sensitivities. And granted, any guy over the age of 50 who's been working in corporate America for 30 years needs to retire now before his butt gets fired.
You get it. That someone actually kept listings of this kind of stuff is simply amazing. But I thought, like Bill Cosby, this matter was settled out of court. Why do they bring this stuff back up?
Because it's about remaking America in Barack Obama's image. They are fundamentally changing America. This is a dismantling of the First Amendment.
Yeah.
I can't wait till I get, Melanie says it's a compliment. I can't wait in a few years, when I have a few dollars, and Melanie sues me for saying that she's hot chocolate.
Yeah, she's hot chocolate. Yeah, that's right. And
I need to find a pretty white girl I can call my sweet marshmallow. Well, I'm sure that'll really get me in trouble.
Well, you got Carol Fritz in there, shows she's sweet marshmallow, and Mary Brockman is sexy sunshine, and Pastor Shannon Wright over there, she's hot caramel. So there you go. So I'm getting ready for all the lawsuits to come 30 years from now, man.
Right. Lawyer Allred, please call Don Vito. No. I really do dislike that woman and her daughter. I really dislike those two witches.
I have greater respect for ambulance chasers than them. I really do. I have greater respect for them. Listen, and the final question here before I go to another break, which I'm required to under the agreement that I sent out to everybody at TECN, the Exceptional Conservative Network.
Why do you want to start now? You done broken every rule tonight so far. Man, that's like stopping after the pregnancy. You may as well keep going.
Hey, I am not pregnant. I'm just getting fat all of a sudden. Oh, man, thank you. I'll bring it up at the owners' meeting. Anyway, I want to get your thoughts on Berkeley. Listen, chick walk up to me and slam me in my throat. What it's on, right? Am I right? It's on, right?
I'm gonna drop it like a bad habit. No, wait. Okay, now let's stop and back up. I do not believe in men hitting women.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't.
Exactly.
But this chick showed up with Antifa wearing a studded glove. A studded glove. Meaning that if she threw a punch and connected with someone, she was going to do some damage. She threw a punch at this guy in the middle of a riot. Now, I'm going to say this as one of my daughters says it. When you step to a dude like a dude, don't be upset when you get treated like a dude.
Thank you. Thank you. Listen, we've seen videos where women have slapped guys and guys have been really tolerant and they're getting slapped 4 or 5 times. Is there an expectation of a breaking point?
Well, now, a slap is one thing.
Yes.
And I dealt with this on my show earlier today. The Right Guy on SHR Media and the Exceptional Conservative Network between 4 or 5 and 6 p.m. Especially in a domestic situation.
Yeah.
If your wife slaps you or something, you put your hands in your pocket and you walk away. You just leave.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you have to, you grab her and you hold. But there's no reason for you to strike back in that sort of a situation. But in this situation, where you're out in public and it's a full-blown riot, and this chick is squaring up on you like she's a middleweight.
Yes.
No, she just popped. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
This is so, and I've told my sons, you do not hit girls. If a girl hits you, if you can walk away from it, walk away from it. But you are nobody's punk.
Exactly.
And if you have to defend yourself to prevent bodily harm, you drop her.
Yes. Yes. And
So, there's a fine line that we have to deal with when it comes to these, they're not ladies, I'm just going to say females, jumping out here thinking that they're just going to whip on some guy and that then they're going to be able to claim, oh, I'm a little snowflake, you can't hit me back. No, you hit me with the studded glove, I'm going to knock your teeth out.
And people have to understand that gentleman showed great reservation early. If you look at the whole thing, he showed great reservation with her getting in his face in the first place. And I'm not talking about you go at a woman but literally, she put studded gloves into his throat. I mean, come on. What do? Do you sit there and let someone beat the daylights out of you? Because she is no longer a woman. She's a somebody who's accosting me. I need to defend myself.
You ain't hit it away. Tyson hit Spinks.
Bingo. There you go. Now, some people will listen to this show and they will say, listen, Ken, McClinton, chairman of the Exceptional Conservative Network, you are fostering anger and hostility towards women, and you're encouraging sadomasochistic behavior by saying that a man can defend himself.
Well, that's a different conversation.
Claudia is up right now. We can't talk that way in front of Claudia.
But we do not condone.
Thank you.
Hitting women. We do not condone violence against women. But if a man's physical integrity is put in danger, and one slap across the face does not rise to a man's physical integrity being put in danger, that doesn't do it. If she had just slapped him and turned around and walked away and he had cold cocked her, I'd be all over him.
Yeah, exactly.
He'd be wrong.
Yeah.
But in that sort of a situation, she has presented herself as an enemy combatant.
Mm-hmm.
And when you present yourself to me as an enemy combatant, I am going to respond to you as an enemy combatant. And you are not going to like how you're treated.
Ladies and gentlemen, in America, the greatest crime you now have is not assault, it's self-defense. Listen, how can people listen to your particular program on the Exceptional Conservative Network?
I air Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 4:05 to 6 p.m. I'm the right guy with Ralph J. Chittams Sr. If you want to reach out to me, please go to my website, blackelephantconsultants.com, blackelephantconsultants.com. I'd love to hear from any of your listeners.
After these commercial breaks, the last commercials of the evening, we will be talking with Shining Right as she drops the mic in the Eve. We'll be right back. Thanks, Ralph.
Have a good night.
You too.
Human by race, Christian by faith, American by nationality, conservative by choice. It's Reverend Ralph Chittams, the right guy, on the Exceptional Conservative Network from 4:05 to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. The right guy on TECN. Hi, my name is Willie Lawson of The Willie Lawson Show here on the Exceptional Conservative Network. We have a brand new show on at 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. We are bound to make you think. We are bound to make you see things differently. We are bound to push you into action for not only your community, but your country. That's the Willie Lawson Show on the Exceptional Conservative Network, 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. See you there.
I'm Ken McClinton, chairman of the Exceptional Conservative Network. Never has the cry for economic liberty been more resounding in urban America than on Election Day 2016. It's the economy. All real change begins with the American entrepreneur. Socialism did not work. Progressivism stole the wealth of individuals and families. You voted for something different. Real change. But what does real change look and sound like? It looks like Las Vegas, and it sounds like Freedom Fest 10. Freedom Fest, the world's largest gathering of free minds, is a popular liberty-minded conference at the beautiful Paris Resort in Las Vegas from July 19th to the 22nd. Hear the voices of the urban freedom movement: Deneen Borelli, Larry Elder, Gina Lofton, Helen Rowley, Juan Pablo Andrande, and Zayad Abdullah. Share ideas with powerful liberty movement figures like Steve Forbes, Jim Rogers, Anthony Scaramucci, Jennifer Grossman, Naomi Brockwell, Dinesh D'Souza, John Stossel, Lisa Kennedy, Peter Schiff, and our keynote speaker this year, William Shatner. Your money, your liberty, your freedom, your city. Come for the real and return with the change. Register now at freedomfest.com for $100 off the regular registration rate when you use the all caps code TECN. We'll see you there. Ladies and gentlemen, the last of all the commercials for this particular evening. You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. Listen, the sexy Sackhead Sean, the very foxy Sackhead Clint, and the vivacious BZ will be in Vegas. And they will be doing the can at Freedom Fest. They will get on top of the table. They have their own G-strings and everything else, and they will be doing their dance. All you have to do when they bend down is put $1 in there. So please don't put 5s and 10s in there because it confuses them. They haven't counted that far up. Only ones. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you come to Vegas, because what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. It really does. Shannon and Mike Wright are supposed to be coming to Vegas too. I am very excited by that. And in fact, let us go to Shannon Wright right now. Bring her right on. She's so busy now that sometimes she doesn't make it on Wednesday nights because she's that important and everything, and she all big time, third vice GP, right, something out in Maryland, one of the most powerful political leaders in Maryland. And Miss Wright, Miss Wright. Okay. All right. So we're going to try that one more time, just a little bit later. And I hope I met the actual requirement of all the commercials that I had to play. Hopefully somebody will tell me that I did. I that sounds more like a kid. Love it, Ralph. Listen, they're coming up in the next few minutes, in fact. None other than Sackhead, Sean, Sackhead, Clint, BZ. They'll be coming up at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, the SHR Media Group, Sackhead's radio show. They are on SHR Media. I will put that back in the chat room. I really want you all to go to shrmedia.com after this particular show. I've had a lot of fun this particular evening, and thank you all for allowing the geek in me to come out. I am really geeky regarding this. What happened to Shannon? Is Shannon so big now that I mean she has the #2 show on TECN. Does that mean that she no longer has to come on my show? Is that what it really means? Is that what it's all about? We are contacting Shannon Wright right now. Okay. 1 ringy dingy, 2 ringy dingy, 3 ringy dingy. There we go. Okay. All right. So we don't have Shannon on, and we'll check back with her to find out if Wednesday nights are best times for her. This is what I'm going to do. And I know how some of you all are starving to hear someone come on with consternation towards me. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask for a few moments of Melanie Colette's time. And I know you have all dialed in because you really want to hear Melanie Collette go at me at some of the comments that I made tonight. And that's cool. Although I'm absolutely positively right on everything that I've said this evening, I'm quite certain that somebody will tell me that I've been wrong. And so this is her opportunity. I'm going to allow it. That's loud right there. Right? She's got one of those old phones. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Pick it up. Ring a dingy dingy. There we go. Ring a dingy dingy. We are contacting Miss Melanie Collette. Good evening, Miss Melanie Collette. It's a great honor and privilege to have you on my show for the rest of the next 5 minutes. So
great. That's just what a woman wants to hear.
Yeah, you know, hey, I promise you 5 minutes. I know you've got used to 3. So
hey, you got 5 minutes?
Wow. Already. Okay. You are wow, already. You cannot be that cantankerous towards me. You really cannot be.
I'm sorry. I have to be nice.
Yeah, I have to be nice because not only are you vice president of TECN, but you're also president of TECN.BIZ.
Even though I got tire marks from you and Lonnie throwing me under the bus when the lion chaser came on earlier today. I didn't forget that, how y'all talked about me.
What did we say? What did we say about you? I don't remember.
I take up a lot of time, but now you're calling me because you know you got stuck, and now you're calling me.
Because you take up a lot of time.
I see. Shouldn't have picked up the phone.
But tell everybody, this is your few moments where you can tell everyone about TECN. Stop looking at me like that, like I'm crazy.
Tell them we're on video chat so I can see you.
Yeah, exactly. She gave me. You all have got to see her in person. She gives you that look. Okay, like really. Okay, she's got like 1,500 looks that she gives you, and then she'll give you one where it's like, really.
Okay. About TECN.BIZ that I'm slowly but surely working on. But can I before I talk about that, can I talk about the 5 minutes of personal 5 minutes of personal finance? Can I talk about that?
Yes, yes you can.
So it's a new segment that we just started this week on Money Talk with Melanie. It's the last 5 minutes of the show where I do a personal finance segment. The first day we talked about tax day and what you can do if you were not finished your taxes, how to file an extension. Yesterday we covered how to. I'm sorry, or was that today? Today.
Mm-hmm.
Today, yeah. Today. It was this morning. We covered how to keep track of your financial transactions using a financial app, which the one that I recommended was Mint.com. So if you go to Spreaker or any place where you see the podcast on my Facebook page or Twitter, you can listen to the show, and you'll hear the last 5 minutes is the 5 minutes of personal finance, where I give you 5 minutes of personal finance advice.
Now, as the chairman of the network, I do have the opportunity of listening to all of your old shows, and I know it's very well appreciated by everyone.
Oh, indeed. Wait. I waited. I cannot wait to hear your feedback, especially about my timing, particularly.
Well, you know, apparently you were so much so concerned about timing that you questioned mine this evening, and I appreciate that. Thank you for holding me accountable.
Well, I know you appreciate being held accountable because I know that you want to set a proper example for us. Yes.
Yes, I do. Wow. 5 minutes of personal finance on your wonderful program. They can catch you on Ustream and also SHR Media Live on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Who is your big top guest on tomorrow at 10 a.m.?
Tomorrow is the final of a three-part series with the Politics. I have Sonia Sasser on. Actually, not tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday, on Friday.
Friday.
I have Sonia Sasser. She is the last of the Politics that I have on there doing a really big tour. And I will have her on Friday. Don't ask me what my personal finance tip is yet. I don't know.
All right. Obviously, you go to the mountaintop, and then it's brought down to you, and then you come down to us.
I do. I
Yeah.
go into the mountains and meditate,
Yeah.
and then it comes to me.
Yeah. There you go. 5.
And then how I come up with the finance tip of the day.
There you go. Now, we our legal department wants to know: were you offended by by calling Kel Fritz sweet marshmallow, calling Shannon Wright hot caramel, calling Mary Brockman sexy, or you being called hot chocolate? Are you offended by any of those things?
There's a chairman who shall remain nameless somewhere in the state of Jersey who has me in his phone as the sweet and chocolate one.
The sweet and chocolate.
And I know it. He told me it was it because I said why, because the state of New Jersey is teeming with black women. He's like, no, I just like to have it there.
Now, I want you to know, I want you to know that you will be meeting Sackhead Sean for the first time out in Vegas. You are going to Vegas, right? Freedom Fest?
I'm going to Vegas. I have as you know, I got a large room, so I have an extra bed in case,
Yep. Wow. Advertisement. Okay. Now,
I mean, it's Vegas. It was happening. I'm kidding. I'm totally joking.
You got Ralph in there talking about sue him and get paid. You know what I'm saying? What kind of love is this in my own network? What kind of...
Listen, I'm trying to go hang out around Bill O'Reilly. I didn't know he liked sisters like that. So I'm trying to get a little investment money for TECN.BIZ.
See, my boy like a little hot cocoa, and it's okay. It's really okay. Once you go cocoa, you'll never go vanilla. Anyway.
You can't be offended by it. Get over yourself. I mean, you think you touch you? So what?
Yeah.
Chocolate. You're supposed to work that. It's Bill O'Reilly. Hello?
Well,
let him come to our chocolate.
Well, we are asking Bill O'Reilly to come to the Exceptional Conservative Network because we're reaching out for white men who love black women. Listen, thank you so much for coming on tonight. All right, and we'll be talking with you soon. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Melanie Collette, TECN.BIZ. If you don't have it written down, write it down, TECN.BIZ. Make certain that it is a part of your business day as we're turning that into a 24/7 business network, TECN.BIZ. For everyone who's listening, I want to thank y'all so much for being in the chat room tonight. But I want to give you one other thing that you need to do since you're in chat room. I need for you to go to shrmedia.com, shrmedia.com to listen to Sackheads Radio tonight with Sackhead Shaw, Sackhead Collette, MBZ, and what a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. I gotta put a little cream in the coffee. My God! If you don't remember anything we said tonight, I want you to remember this. God bless America. It's time for America to bless God. We'll see you later. Good night and God bless. From Washington, D.C., the Exceptional Conservative Show signing out.